Hello everyone, thank you for taking the time to join us on the first of a series of webinars run by the Water Technology List. We've got an hour to go through the material and we'll do our best to stick to that timescale as best we can. This is the first webinar that we've done, so any feedback that you've got at the end that you want to feed back to us will be greatly appreciated. So, just firstly to introduce ourselves, my name is Richard Malloy. I'm the Water Technology List Programme Manager. I work for Ricardo-AEA and manage the scheme on behalf of Defra and HM Revenue and Customs.
Hello everyone, my name is Rachel Harris. I also work for Ricardo-AEA and work on the Water Technology List as a Product Assessment Manager. So I assess the products as they come through to ensure they meet the criteria, and I'm also involved in the criteria reviews.
Thank you. So just before we get underway, I just wanted to point out that you can ask questions at any point during the webinar by typing into the window on the on the right-hand side of the screen. So we've got a couple of Q&A sessions throughout, and we'll try and answer as many as possible in the limited time that we have. However, if we do not have time to answer your questions, I'll make sure that one of us responds to you directly following the conclusion of the webinar. If you're looking for any specific help or support afterwards, we'll supply contact details at the end of the webinar and you can get in contact with us directly. So the aim of today is really to provide you with an overview of the Water Technology List, including how it works, the types of products that we currently have available, as well as giving you an understanding of the benefits to you as a manufacturer, including the support that we can provide you directly. We'll then go on to share some of the success stories in the form of case studies, which will provide you with some real-life examples of how manufacturers have used the WTL to improve their standing. So, as I mentioned, we'll look to have a QA session around the halfway mark, and again at the end of the presentation as well. So firstly, what is the Water Technology List and how does it work? So this session this particular element of the session, focuses more on the end consumer and what's in it for them, but obviously communicated effectively to your customers, this can be seen as a real advantage to them and also a competitive advantage to you as well. So the Water Technology List is part of the Enhanced Capital Allowance scheme, a tax scheme designed to encourage businesses to invest in more sustainable technologies, and in this case more water efficient technologies. The scheme allows businesses to offset 100% of the cost of the capital assets against taxable income in the year of purchase. In this way, the Enhanced Capital Allowance will provide a cash flow boost, shortening the payback period on the investment. So I'll go into this in a bit more detail in the next section. But the products may also provide the additional benefits of lower future utility bills, again adding to the incentive to invest in such technologies. We also see it as a marketing tool to enable manufacturers to promote their more efficient products by using the Water Technology List logo in their literature and on their website, and also to encourage innovation, continually improving on best practice. So just to give you a bit of background to the scheme, back in 2001 the government were looking at how to incentivise green technologies. On the back of the consultation on the Green Technology Challenge, the WTL was launched in 2003 with 5 technology categories including taps, toilets and leak detection equipment. So since then a range of technologies have been added on an annual basis, including the likes of showers, rainwater harvesting, washing machines and also vehicle wash water reclaim units. In 2006, GE's Beetroot was the first to gain an Enhanced Capital Allowance on a membrane filtration system, which later led to the recovery and reuse systems being added in 2008. Since then, we've been doing lots of criteria reviews, ensuring that the criteria is up to date and fit for market. And in 2013, the Water Technology List also celebrated its 10th anniversary. So, a bit more information on how it actually works for the end user. So this diagram provides a simple illustration of how much the Enhanced Capital Allowance is actually worth. So obviously companies have to pay corporation tax on their profits. In this example here, a company buys a product listed on the Water Technology List worth £1,000. The Enhanced Capital Allowance allows the business to offset 100% of this cost against their profits, reducing their taxable profits by £1,000. So assuming a tax rate of about 21%, the business would pay £210 less tax in the year the equipment was purchased, providing a real cash boost to that company. So this is the same example as the previous slide, but compares the tax benefit over time of the enhanced capital allowance compared with a normal capital allowance. So where normal capital allowances aim to give tax relief for the reduction in value of qualifying assets, the enhanced capital allowance allows you to claim in year one, providing a really useful cash boost in that first year. So claiming the ECA itself is not particularly difficult or complicated. It's claimed as part of the annual normal income or corporation tax return. So all we have to do is enter the amount spent under the designated environmentally friendly machinery and equipment category, and they can claim for the price paid for the new product as well as costs directly associated with the installation of the kit. They should also obtain documentation that enables them to prove the claims for the 100% allowance. This could be just an invoice, for example. If they're looking for any additional support, you can point them towards their accountant or their tax advisor, who should be able to provide it. So what kind of products and product categories do we currently have on the list, and how do you actually access it? Well, the water technology list, as I said, is the mechanism through which the Enhanced Capital Allowance scheme is delivered and provides a list of sustainable water products against which the ECA can be claimed. So each product listed must conform to a set of criteria for each technology category and subcategory, which can be accessed through the website. The criteria are reviewed as part of an annual cycle, and we tend to do 2 to 3 a year. The water technology product list itself lists all the qualifying products on which the ECA or tax relief can be claimed. This list is updated with accepted products and removed products on a daily basis. So currently we've got 15 technology categories. 14 of these are product technology categories, under which there's 36 sub-technology categories. And we also have one bespoke technology category as well. So the technologies, if you can't tell from the pictures, range from domestic type devices like your taps, your toilets and your showers, through to cleaning technologies including washing machines, industrial cleaners, cleaning in place equipment, and plenty more in between, with the likes of grey water recovery and reuse equipment, rainwater harvesting equipment, and meters and monitoring equipment also there. A full list of the eligible technology categories is available on the product list, which I'll show you in a second. And manufacturers apply for products to be added to the list. This is with the exception of the bespoke water reuse systems category, where the end user is the one that actually applies to have the system certified for ECA support. But I'll go into that in a bit more detail later on. So the water technology list is accessed through the HM Revenue and Customs website, or alternatively you can search for it in Google with water technology list, and it'll come out as the top link. Alternatively, eca-water.gov.uk address will also take you to the correct part of the HM Revenue and Customs website. So in order to actually find products on the list, if you scroll down the HMRC webpage and click the link Search for Water Efficient Technologies Eligible for ECAs with Defra, and this will take you directly to the product search page. So I'm just going to jump across to show you the website in the browser as well, and just show you kind of what you can use it for. So this will take you to this website, at which point you're able to browse either by selecting a specific technology category, or if you know more specifically what it is you're looking for, you can look at the sub-technology categories, under which there's about 36, as I said. If you know the manufacturer or the supplier that you're looking for, you can search for them, or you can look at your competitors and see what products they've got on the water technology list. And again, they're all listed here, and you can browse depending on what it is you're looking for. If you know the model name or the number, you can search that specifically here. Alternatively, there is the option as well to look at products that are no longer listed on the list or have been removed in the last 2 years. This is to check for tax purposes if you purchased a product and you want to see whether it was eligible for an enhanced capital allowance at the time of purchase. You can also browse specifically just by clicking one of these categories below as well. So I'll just show you. If you click on the efficient taps, that will take you through to the sub-technologies. And again, if you click on one of them, and that will take you through to all the products listed currently. As you can see there. Oops. Alternatively, if there's a lot, in this case there's only 2 pages, but in some cases there might be sort of 5, 6, 10, depending on how many products there are. There is the opportunity to download it as an Excel spreadsheet and search at your own leisure. There's also a couple additional tabs here. One that will give you some more information on the technology itself, and one that will give you the criteria, which is the criteria against which the product must meet in order to be accepted to the water technology list. So in this case, there's a few bits and pieces here in terms of the hydraulic characteristics, compliance with things like RAS. So all the information will be provided within that. There has been a couple of questions as well about how to actually add a product to the water technology list, so I thought I'd go through a quick example just to show you how to do it. It's all done through this, the Partner Access panel. In order to get access to this, you must first register for the website. You can do this through the Partner Access panel, and when you register, the registration will get sent to our admin team. They will then review it and accept or reject it, and send you your username and password in order to give you access to the back end of the website. So once you have access, you'll get a window like this and some additional functions, including being able to add new products or system applications, new technology applications, or it will also give you access to promotional tools and the water technology list symbol. So if you want to add a new product application, or apply to have a new product assessed, sorry, click on this. There is the opportunity here, we've got a video demonstration. If you want to look at that offline, then I'll give you a bit more information. But you just need to select the technology under which you want to apply to have your product added. In this case, I'll just select Vehicle Wash Water Reclaim. Click Next. And then all you have to do is put in your model details and your manufacturer name. And then each of these elements are specifically applied to the criteria against which the product needs to be assessed. So you're able to check that by clicking on the eligibility criteria. So in this case, if you click all that applies and select the country of choice, Brazil seems quite appropriate, and click on the type of reclaim unit, and at this point you can use the details entered here as a starting point for the next product. This is particularly useful if you have lots of products that are fairly similar, and you can basically copy the details across your product range and just tweak it to meet your requirements. So at this point you can then save and submit, which will take you through to the next part. And then what you need to do is provide us with evidence to show that it meets the eligibility criteria. So this might be your marketing literature, it might be information about the technology itself, product diagrams, that kind of thing, just as long as we're able to look at the evidence and show that it can meet the eligibility criteria. So anything that you think that would help us to do that would make the process a lot more simple and straightforward for us and yourselves. So you can upload it specifically to the application, which we can then access once it comes through to you, through to us, sorry. And if you would rather post it out to us, there is the option to do that as well, and the address is also provided as well. So that's kind of how to sort of submit a product application to us. Once we receive that product application, we will try and turn it around within 30 days. And if we've got any questions related to either your application or your evidence, then we'll come straight back to you to ask those. So I'll just go back to the presentation slide. There we go. Sorry, it took a couple of seconds to come through that. So what if your technology category isn't on the list? So we've got a mechanism in place to allow manufacturers or suppliers to apply to have their category assessed against the higher level objectives of the water technology list. So you can do that by submitting a new product application on the website through the same portal as I just showed you there. So what is it we actually look for in a new technology category? Well, there's some specific scheme criteria against which we assess a new category. So I'll just go through these quickly, but it must have a positive water conservation or quality outcome that's lasting and measurable, so it's over a longer period of time. It needs to be classed as plant and machinery. The equipment must not be eligible for other incentive schemes. So, for example, there might be pieces of, there might be products that are that have components in it that are eligible for other schemes, like the Energy Technology List, which is a similar scheme, an Enhanced Capital Allowance scheme for energy efficient equipment. So we need to manage these issues. It must be possible to define the equipment in a clear and ambiguous way to reduce the burden on the claimant. Market penetration must be relatively low, less than 30%, sometimes lower than that depending on the market, so that the ECA acts as an incentive for people to actually invest in the equipment. Equipment must be deployable in more than one establishment or more than one industry sector. The technology must be proven and not experimental, and hence risk of promotion of wrong solutions is minimized. The use of the equipment must not have negative environmental public health side effects. So we don't want to see products, for example, that are very water efficient, however, replace water with a particularly harmful chemical. Value for money from supporting technologies. For example, it must be there must be good water savings against the cost of the equipment, and it must must also demonstrate environmental benefits to be accrued with ECA support, i.e. do we see absolute water savings when the technology is installed, or are there reductions in other impacts, particularly if we can quantify those. So just as an example, a new technology category, standardized grey water recovery and reuse equipment, was added last year. So grey water is wastewater basically from baths, showers, wash basins and laundry. So not your kitchens, toilets or industrial processes. But once treated, grey water can be used for non-potable uses such as toilet flushing, garden watering, laundry use or vehicle washing. So we're now accepting applications from manufacturers for products to appear on the water technology list. So this refers specifically to standardized grey water recovery and reuse equipment, by which we mean packaged and or site assembled domestic grey water treatment equipment, where all prefabricated components are factory or site assembled by one manufacturer and tested as a single unit. So in other words, it doesn't include bespoke grey water systems or individual components of systems. So any applications for bespoke grey water systems should be made under the water reuse category, which I'll come on to now. So the wastewater recovery and reuse systems category allows bespoke systems to be assessed against the criteria to determine eligibility for the Enhanced Capital Allowance scheme. So the equipment must recover at least 40% of wastewater received by the system, and it's the company investing in the system that must demonstrate that the system meets the eligibility criteria, rather than the manufacturers themselves, which is in the case of the product list. So the reason for this category is that the most appropriate technology will be different for different sites, depending on the level of treatment required, which is directly related to the characteristics of the site effluent and the application required for the treated water. So we're talking about bespoke systems rather than products here. And as such, a certification scheme is required for water reuse systems that meets the eligibility criteria in order for them to claim ECA. So as the technology follows a systems application process, it's possible to claim Enhanced Capital Allowances on the whole water reuse system. So that's going to include any ancillary equipment required to ensure the functionality of the system. For example, the membrane unit or a membrane unit, necessary pre-treatment equipment required to prepare the wastewater for treatment, and any necessary post-treatment equipment to ensure water quality for reuse applications, It also includes things like replacement membranes and groundworks as well. So as these can be expensive components of the system, the total value of the Enhanced Capital Allowance can have significant impact on the payback period, which will encourage greater investment. So we'll go through a case study later on just to give you an idea of what the savings are that can be achieved from such a system. Okay, we'll now have a look and see what questions have been submitted during the first half of the presentation. Again, you can still submit questions throughout the rest of the presentation as well by using the window on the right-hand side of the screen. I don't know, Rachel, have you got any to go through first?
Yeah, some of you submitted questions when you registered, which I'm going to go through and answer. So first up, we've got, if my product cannot be categorized by the WTL, what do I do next? Well, as Richard mentioned, you can do this by submitting a new technology application on the website. It's a simple process, so that submitting a new product application, as shown earlier. Also, there's a video that will take you through the process. So easy peasy, you've got lots of support on the website. Second question is, as my product is a retrofit, does it qualify for the capital allowance scheme? And if not, can I still list my product on the WTL? Well, this will depend on the type of retrofit product you have and whether it fits within any of the existing technology categories. If it doesn't fit within these categories, you will need to submit a new technology application where the category itself will be assessed for suitability. If you wish to discuss it, please give the helpline a call. There'll be someone available and we'll be happy to talk you through it. And then the next question is there a government grant available for companies to invest in this equipment? I'm afraid the answer to this is no, not through the WTL, as it's not a grant scheme. And then the next question is, how far is the update of the criteria set in the last meeting in the UK? And this is regards to the professional washing equipment and washing machines. The stakeholder consultation for this is set to open over the next few weeks, so it's ongoing at the moment. And then any changes to criteria will likely come into play this time next year. So if you'd like to be added to the stakeholder list, if you've got an interest in water-efficient washing machines and would like to get involved in the consultation, then please do let us know. We're always keen to hear from stakeholders and manufacturers who'd like to input to the criteria. Okay, Richard, do you have any questions?
Thank you. Yep, there's been a few sent through, both throughout the beginning and also while we've been talking. Will we have a copy of the slides at the end? Yes, they'll be sent out following the webinar, and this is also being recorded as well, so you'll be able to watch the video as well. Have you got materials explaining the tax benefits in a simple way for us to use in our own marketing materials? We do have generic information about the Enhanced Capital Allowance and also how it applies to products on the water technology list as sort of specific material that can be put in things like proposals as well, and also your marketing materials. Rachel will come on to talk about some of that in the next section in terms of what materials that we have available for you as well. How long can we expect that HMRC will continue to provide funding via the ECA? We've had no indication, as far as we're aware, the funding will keep continuing for this. I would say indefinitely at the moment. There's no end in sight at the moment. Can't really give too much more on that, to be honest. Could you please elaborate on what can be claimed for under the Enhanced Capital Allowance scheme for installation costs of an ECA qualified product? Yes, you can also claim for the installation costs of the product as well as the actual capital cost of purchasing the product as well. And again, you just add that to the same category on the tax return form. I'm confused as to the comment, it needs to be a system factory manufactured, not bespoke. I'm guessing that relates to the grey water recovery and reuse equipment. It kind of falls across two categories, that one, because it is a reuse category. So there'll be two possibilities. The first is that it will be a standardised off-the-shelf grey water harvesting unit, in which case it can be, you can apply to have it added to the list under the standardised grey water recovery and reuse equipment category. Alternatively, it might be the case that there's a more bespoke system that the end business requires, in which case this is also a water recovery and reuse system. So if it's more bespoke, you can apply to have it certified under the systems category, which is the one that the end user applies for rather than the manufacturer of the system. Hopefully that makes sense. If you feel I've not answered any of your questions properly, then please submit another one, and I'll try and come back to it later on. There's a couple more that are more specific questions with a specific issue, so I'll try and answer them directly if that's okay. And in the meantime, we'll move on with the presentation, but keep submitting the questions and we'll come back to them at the end. And yeah, I'll hand over to Rachel, who will now go through the next part of the presentation. Oops.
So, having heard from Richard about how the WTL works, I'm going to talk to you about why you'd want to register your product and the reasons why other manufacturers already have. Here we've got a bit of an overview of the benefits of the WTL. So you've got two main stakeholders in terms of the benefits. You've got yourselves, who are the suppliers or the manufacturers, and you've got your customers or investors or purchasers. So for investors and customers purchasing your products, there's a number of benefits for them, and these are, so if the technology is on the list, it's a proven water-saving technology. So there's a low risk with good return on investment. To get your product on the list, you do have to prove that it meets the water efficiency thresholds that will be set out in the criteria for each product, which gives a level of quality assurance to buyers and a level of trust in the product because they've already been through this process. And to be on the list, there's something that we approve, and we've looked at the credentials. There's also the tax relief, additional cash flow boost, and reduced payback, over which are the obvious economic incentives that attract people to buy WTL products. Also, increasing the security of water supply through water saving improves business resilience. For example, climate change is something that's ever more important, and in the future it's likely that we'll see more drought, and therefore water efficiency is going to be an ever more important issue that will become more central to businesses in the way that they operate. By using water efficient products, companies can improve their competitive position and make financial savings. And also, with reducing water use brings associated carbon and energy use. So reducing the amount of water used, particularly when the water needs to be heated, saves carbon and any other energy savings, which obviously saves on cost. Also, using the WTL can be helpful in terms of procurement tool. And then for you guys on the line, the technology providers and manufacturers, registering your products gives you the competitive advantage. It supports innovation, and it's useful for product and company promotion. And I'll just go through these 3 points now and talk to you a little more detail. So in terms of competitive advantage, using the WTL provides your customers with the opportunity to save money by buying their products from you rather than from anyone else. The WTL is in alignment with the government scheme and shows that you are serious about water efficiency, which is appealing to customers who share the same values. So just having a look at this slide quickly, to date there are over 200 manufacturers with nearly 6,000 products registered on the WTL. Here's just a snapshot of some of them. Do you notice any of your competitors there? We believe that the WTL supports innovation. We regularly review the criteria that products have to meet to ensure that it's up to date with market direction and innovation in the market. For example, this year we're reviewing the criteria for grey water reuse, water efficient washing machines and rainwater harvesting equipment. Just to say as well, if any of you on the line are involved in these technologies and would like to be involved in the stakeholder review of the criteria, then please let us know. The consultation for grey water reuse, water efficient washing machines and rainwater harvesting equipment will be taking place over the next few weeks, and we invite comments from stakeholders, and all of your comments will then be fed back to Defra. The criteria is developed and regularly reviewed to ensure it supports the top tier of water efficient products, and by engaging with industry experts such as yourselves, we aim to make sure the criteria is reflective of the market. Richard mentioned earlier about our new product development and how last year we introduced grey water recovery and reuse equipment. We encourage manufacturers to submit new ideas, so if there's a product that you think should be on the list, then please let us know. We'd love to hear about it and we'll consider it. One of the questions was asking about marketing and promotion and the materials that we issue. Another benefit of the WTL is the marketing and promotional aspect that it brings. We will provide you with text for you to develop your own promotional material and be on hand if you need any advice. So we always encourage manufacturers to pick up the phone and give us a call if you need any support. Once your product has been approved on the list, you'll be provided with a WTL symbol containing your product's unique registration number. Manufacturers often use this on their website as it's a quick and easy way for customers to see what they are buying. So if they're particularly looking for WTL approved equipment, then they're just going on your website and having the symbol there is a really quick way for them to identify it. Richard, myself and the WTL team here at Ricardo-AEA actively promote the WTL ourselves. We speak a lot at conferences and at events and through Twitter, and are happy to promote technologies and case studies on your behalf. We're very much into collaborating with manufacturers to promote water efficiency. So if this appeals to you or you have a product that you'd like us to shout about on your behalf, then please let us know. Here's an example of the guidance we'll provide if, for example, you'd like to issue your own press release. Again, we're on hand should you need any support in this area. And as you can see here, this is our Twitter page. We do quite a lot of promotion through Twitter, so please do follow us, and as I said, if you'd like your product to be promoted via Twitter, then let us know. Here's an example of the guidance we'll provide you with if, for example, you'd like to issue your own press release. So perhaps you'd like to shout about the fact that your product has gained WTL approval, and we'll provide guidance on that and are always on hand to help. You will also receive the following list with a range of suggestions that you could use to promote your product effectively. This includes top tips that will be really helpful, including briefing your sales team on the added benefits that the WTL approval will bring to the product. Perhaps sales teams aren't maybe as up to date on the WTL as yourselves, given that you will have gone through the process of applying for approval. So it's important to educate them so they can pass the message on to customers. Inform any catalogues listing your products of the product's new status, and you can then pass on the logo should you want it to appear in catalogues. Also, including details of the WTL in any tender documents relating to products. We've actually heard from some organisations that they now specifically only consider tenders containing WTL approved products and have incorporated this into their procurement policy. And also educating your customers about the WTL so that they understand the benefits that they can derive from purchasing qualified products. Often, perhaps your customers aren't as aware and as switched on as you are into water efficiency, so you can promote water efficiency and therefore your products with them. I'm now going to take you through a few case studies, and we've got some examples of the customers who have purchased equipment, and also manufacturers, and also one organisation who is actively looking to kind of enhance the using WTL equipment. So first up, we have Shepherd Neame Brewery. This first one's from Shepherd Neame Brewery in Kent, and this is a systems application. They installed a wastewater recovery and reuse system which enables the recovery and on-site reuse of 43% of the site's wastewater. The total cost of the system was in the region of 3.6 million, and the company was able to offset all of this cost against their taxable profits in the first year and improve their cash flow in the first year of operation by £500,000, which I'm sure you agree is a pretty substantial amount. Next up, Richard mentioned it earlier, we've got G's Beetroot, who in 2006, G's Beetroot are a fresh vegetable grower in Cambridge, and in 2006 they were the first to gain Enhanced Capital Allowance on a membrane filtration system, which led to the recovery and reuse systems being added in 2008. Fitting the technology enabled them to reduce their effluent strength and be compliant with trade effluent consent levels, and also reduce water use by 70%. In total, they saved £152,000 a year with a payback of 2.6 years with the ECA approval, as opposed to 3.2 years, which it would have been without. The next is Nilfisk, one of the biggest suppliers of professional cleaning equipment, and have 50 models registered to the WTL, which is the greatest amount of water-efficient scrubber dryers approved on the list. The quote that you can see below is a quote that they've used on their website to show that they are using the water technology list, and they say that water is also now a significant cost factor, so the WTL initiative fits very well with their total cost of ownership focus. Here we have Aqualogic. Aqualogic are one of the UK's leading manufacturer and supplier of water conservation products. They have 57 products listed on the WTL, which includes efficient taps, showers, efficient toilets and urinals. As you can see from the quote provided by the MD at Aqualogic, their experience of the WTL is that it's a major additional incentive for customers and that it can only assist in boosting product sales. And this latest case study is from Hilton Worldwide. We were delighted to find out that Hilton Worldwide are looking to introduce ECA compliant and highly efficient equipment. So, you know, if you were supplying organisations such as this, here's an example of how they're moving towards looking at technologies that are on the WTL to use in their establishments. This is quite a significant step, really, and we think that Hilton have been quite innovative here and are kind of leading the way, and they're one of the largest hospitality companies in the world with 10 brands across 92 countries and 4,000 hotels. So supporting water efficient equipment and looking to use equipment from the WTL is the way that we foresee in the future the market will be going. And then again, if you have any more questions, please let us know. If you've had anything about that sprung to mind about what I've been talking about, if you have any more questions for Richard, do let us know. I'm just going to go through some more questions that were submitted when you registered, so hopefully I'll get through most of them. So first up, we've got, this is quite an important one for everybody. Is there a cost involved? You'll be happy to know that no, there's absolutely no cost involved to you for registering your product and for any of the process. It's a free service for you. Second question is, I'm not based in the UK, can I still register my products? Yes, so it's open to companies and manufacturers outside of the UK. However, only customers inside the UK will be able to benefit. So as long as you're selling your products to the UK market, then you can do so. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much benefit in it. The next question is, I have 10 different models of shower heads. Do I need to do a separate application for each? Yes, you do. So you need to do separate applications for each different product, even if it's just a different model. However, you can add multiple products to one application, and the form will allow you to copy product details across. This is helpful if you have a lot of different products with only small tweaks, as it saves a lot of time. And then the next question is, how long does it take to add a new category or technology? So as this involves changing government legislation, the process does take some time. So if you have a new technology, from making a new product application through to the review, and if approved and added to the list, this process usually takes around 2 years. But obviously, once it's on the list, so it's well worth doing. The next question is, how long will it take to review my application? So once you've submitted the application, we will make a decision. At the latest, it takes 30 days or 50 days for a systems application, but we'll usually get this done a lot sooner. And once you submit your application, that's not, you don't not hear from us during that period. If we've noticed that you've not supplied the right information, or if you need to supply different information, we'll be in regular contact with you to support you through the application process. The next question is, how do I register to make an application? That is via the WTL website, which we've shown. And then the next question coming up is, what supporting evidence is required? So the product must meet the relevant standards, and this is different for the different categories. But for example, for taps, compliance with the regulations may be demonstrated through something called a RAS approval. And this is true across all the technologies, a technology specification and marketing collateral must be provided. So you must provide us with something that states, for example, what the flow rate is of your product, or just so that we can see that it meets the efficiency threshold. And then the next question is, how do I obtain a copy of the logo? It will be sent to you once the product has been accepted. And then the last question I've got is, any limits on the product, the number of products you can register? Note, you can register as many as you like, and it's completely free. And then over to Richard. Richard, have you got any questions on the line?
Yeah, there's a few. The first one I missed earlier on, actually. There's a question about uploading products as a list. Well, actually, as an Excel file. You can't upload it as an Excel file, but we try and make it as easy as possible by allowing you to copy details between applications. So you can have multiple products in one application, and you can also submit evidence for that one application that will cover all of the products. It depends. There was a question as well. Can I apply a list, or do I have to apply every single part number? It's kind of dependent on the technology category. For example, rainwater harvesting is a component-based sub-technology, so there'll be various components under that as sub-technologies. So you can apply to have specific components added under each of the sub-technologies, but that's not the case for all of them. And as I say, it depends on how your product's put together. There's a few questions as well on the efficient professional washing machines category, which Rachel mentioned earlier is one of the areas that we're looking at for the criteria review this year. It'd be good, actually, Peter, if you could get in contact with us and we can maybe discuss that offline. If the customer buys water technology listed products at the end of the financial year, does he still get 100% ECA for this year? Well, it depends what side of the financial year you buy it. It'll be applicable within that year, so you can apply within that year to have it for your Enhanced Capital Allowance. Are there any planned WTL promotions for state organisations such as schools and hospitals? Well, firstly, because schools and hospitals don't necessarily pay corporation tax and pay tax, then it doesn't always operate as a tax. It doesn't always operate, as an incentive. However, one of the things that we do push is to use the water technology list as a procurement tool for public sector organisations such as the NHS and schools. But we're also looking to run a webinar later in the year specifically for public sector organisations to highlight the benefits of the list to them. So details I'm sure will be sent out about that later in the year. do you believe there's a high enough level of understanding of the Enhanced Capital Allowance scheme within the potential customer base? Would a promotional one-sheet document be of use? Yeah, well, we think there is good knowledge of the water technology list out there, but it can always be better. We're always looking for opportunities to build the understanding within the market, both with manufacturers and in businesses, and of course public sector organisations as well. So anything that we can do to help you promote the water technology list to your customers, then we'll seriously consider, and I would urge you to get in contact with us if you've got any ideas or you've got any specific requirements. Then we'll try and help you out as much as we can. It's, you know, it's a mutual benefit both for ourselves and for you guys as well. Is there a connection with the water label scheme? That's obviously that's the EU water label scheme is fairly new, but we are trying to make sure that we work together and we align with that. But they are separate schemes at the moment. Is there any product testing done by yourself? Yeah, in order to sort of, you know, maintain the integrity of the scheme, we'll randomly sample a number of products every year from various categories to go to an independent testing house, and we'll test those products against the criteria against which they were assessed. Yeah, so that's done every year. Manufacture components for business to business that incorporate water and water leak detection systems. Am I too far away from the finished product to benefit? I mean, as I mentioned earlier on, we do try and support established products, mainly because it kind of reduces the risk and ensures that there is going to be some benefit in terms of water conservation or water quality improvement. But I would urge you to get in contact and we can maybe discuss your technology and how it might fit with the current scheme. And if not, if it's still too far away, then we can maybe explore it at a later date. I have a bathwater diverter which reuses your shower and bathwater for the DIY market that probably wouldn't be used commercially. Is it worth applying to get approval to encourage the everyday customer to save water? I mean, that's up to you. If you feel it would be of benefit to your customers, then feel free to apply under one of the categories. In terms of what category it would sit under, we probably need to discuss that. I'm not entirely sure. I need to know a bit more details about the product itself. How do you assess market penetration? As part of the new technology, new technology development and the criteria review, then we look at market penetration, and we assess this through literature review, market research companies, and we'll speak to trade associations and also manufacturers and end users to get a hold on how the market is developing, and also how the market is looking going forward as well, and obviously how the Enhanced Capital Allowance plays into that and how it would affect the market. Because we want the ECA to act as an incentive, so we need to assess this on a regular basis as well. So I'm just sort of reading through all the questions. We license a water AMR package. The client buys a service rather than a product. How does this apply? I see services from our competitors are listed. Well, it needs to be, obviously it needs to be plant and machinery. So we'd probably need to, again, discuss that offline. It depends the type of package you're talking about, whether it's a product or it's a, well, I'm guessing it's an AMR, so it'll be product and potentially software as well, not sure. To qualify for a system, we need to reuse 40%. Is that 40% of the water intake or 40% of the effluent discharge? It needs to reuse 40% of the wastewater going into the system. So 40% of the wastewater available to the system needs to be reused elsewhere within the site. So hopefully that kind of clarifies that. there's a couple of recommendations as well, which I'll take note of. Thank you for that. Who is the WTL owned, run by? Well, it's a scheme. The scheme is the scheme was developed by Defra, Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, in collaboration with HM Revenue and Customs. We manage it and run it on behalf of those organisations. We're Ricardo-AEA. We've managed it since its inception 10 years ago, or 11 years ago almost now. Okay, I think that covers the majority of the questions. I know there's some there that are maybe a bit specific for this webinar, but we'll try and answer them offline. As I said at the beginning, there is the opportunity to get in contact with us there. I've provided the advice line, which takes you through to our helpline, and also the email address which you can send questions to directly. The slides will be sent out to all the delegates in the next few days. And if you've got any feedback for us, or any comments, or any other content or webinars that perhaps you'd like to see in the future, or areas that you think we maybe touched on too much or too little, then please get in contact with us. Any feedback, we'd really, really appreciate it. But if that's all the questions for now, I think we'll sign off, and you can all go for an early lunch. So just lastly, thanks very much for your time, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.